Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything? That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a blight to stop.
You're awake. Did you feel it too? It was like the archdemon saw us. Saw us! What does that mean? I think... Wait. Did you hear that?
I guess it's like Duncan once said. We can sense them, and they can sense us. We'd best be more careful from now on. This camp isn't safe any longer.
Something you need, my dear? Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? I thought we were already being extra careful. Does that mean we have to be extra careful now? Great. And there I was, enjoying my nap. I guess one thing is certain, at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
Who doesn't? If I don't get in, no one should.
Orzammar has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. What? Lies and slander! King Loghain will not suffer this. I will not suffer it. I'm his messenger.
Kill each other as you will, but take your sodding fight off my doorstep.
Enemies approaching! Very well. I shall do it. As you say. Don't give them the advantage!
You've done me a service. That fool Imrek was barking for a week. Are all humans so touched? You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden, though I don't know what help you will find.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the diamond quarter. I will
not have Balin incite a riot.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order. Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate. Yes, you should.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what this city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive. The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne, Lord Harrowmont or that monster Balin. Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the Assembly to endorse Harrowmont. Aye. What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir. He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less. He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the Assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Balin didn't murder him himself. You come at a sad time, stranger. I'm going home to wait it out. I suggest you do the same.
You look like you're not from around here. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle? Oh, my lady, it's an honor. I've never met an actual mage. Is it true you can manipulate nature's forces with your mind? Like you were born with lyrium in your veins?
Don't let the glamour fool you, child. Wielding magic is a dangerous occupation and a great responsibility.
Of course not. Haven't you read First Enchanter Caithalen's treatise concerning dwarfs and the non-heritability of magic? He tested dwarfs from 20 bloodlines and found they couldn't perform any level of spell casting, regardless of lyrium exposure or time on the surface. The Circle speculates that lyrium in the stone shields us from spiritual influences, and over time made us immune to them. I want to go to the Circle to study. I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing. That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperiums for Tikum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child? Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
What's this? A human? Did we make these tunnels tall enough for humans? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you past the front lines without Adesha's permission. And I've heard nothing of any new patrols scheduled to leave today.
Don't let the comm fool you. The Darkspawn are down there, aren't they, Commander?
Either we finally have the edge, which I doubt, or the beasts are building up numbers for the next attack. Alright, for your sake, I hope you've no reason to come here again.
I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone. My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith caste. I pray here every day for my son, Ruck. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul. It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them. How? There is no way except to brave the Deep Roads yourself. A warden. So you could do it. Only wardens face the Deep Roads without a company backing them. Oh, thank you. The ancestors finally heed my prayers.
Take heart, good Widow Filda. We'll do our best.
Please, find me as soon as you return.
Maker's blessing on you, sister. Ah, it's a great pleasure to meet a fellow believer. I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar. There is resistance. It's obvious the world wasn't created by the mortal souls who dwelt within it. Yet the dwarves of Orzammar persist in worshipping their own forefathers. The Shaper controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission to open a prayer meeting. Oh, I'd hoped you'd say that. I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always. Please let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
Afternoon, stranger. You looking for a stool to share a brew? Name's Naveen. I fight with Prince Balin's Expeditionary Field Unit. Yourself? Figured as much. Good folks, wardens. I was in the Deep Roads when that one came by. What was his name? Dukan, Dunka... something like that. I met him, sure. Good man. Solid. He knows what we go through in the Deep Roads. Not many do. Not even the ones who live this close. You have to be on the front lines. Watch yourself. Orzammar politics are getting near as dangerous as battle.
Lord Dennick Helmi, honored Desher of the Orzammar Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending time in taverns. You understand what I'm saying, right? On the surface, there are no castes, and it works fine. Am I right, Warden? But there are those like you who see this with concern, no? Well, I've taken the time to actually talk to the other castes. You know, most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the assembly. Orzammar are so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary. Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's born into every privilege inevitably wants more. They're not fond of my views on equality. Badly. Oh, you're serious? Well, it's simple, I guess. The king and elected deshers of the assembly are at the top. Then it's the nobles. Then the warriors and all the craftsmen. At the bottom are servants. The casteless and criminals are below even that. Your caste is determined by that of your same-sex parent. And that's where you stay your whole life, whatever your skill. As you wish.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you. That is an odd request, especially for one so new to our city. I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition? What sort of charities do you mean? Traditionally, that is their extended family's responsibility, but sometimes people fall through the cracks. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more? I will record this conversation in the memories. I hope I do not come to regret it.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I, don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research. I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads. You're from the surface. What do you know about fighting Darkspawn? There aren't even any expeditions planned until they settle this election. Otherwise, you need special permission from the Assembly or some great lord. A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Harrowmont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking, it's almost too much to hope.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Devorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring? Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. My prince is the rightful king, but a disappointing number of lords back the upstart Harrowmont for the throne. If you show your support for Prince Balin, he might be able to assist with your requests. That hurts worst of all. That Harrowmont would take advantage of the dying king's delirium to plant such poisonous suspicions against his own son. After that, you understand why Balin cannot trust the word of a stranger, however reputable that stranger might be. Wait. We must be cautious about whom to trust, but perhaps we could find a way. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harriman's deception...
Irrefutable evidence? Which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Desher's lords and ladies of the Assembly, I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the assembly of the clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Oh, Stone, you must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate God's message. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. Troubling, but it will still seem distant compared to the empty throne. The Assembly is blind to all else. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harriman, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. Dulin Ferender, Harriman's man, can be found at the Harriman estate. Vartag Gavorn, Prince Balin's second, is often here in the Assembly. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Ferender, second to Lord Harriman, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. In an ordinary time, Lord Harriman would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harriman under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harriman, you will need to prove he can trust you. I see. Well, it hardly increases my confidence to hear that you went to him first. I assume you refused? If you want Lord Harriman's assistance, first you'll have to prove he can trust you. That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harriman's best fighters into stepping down. It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harriman would have no fear of meeting with you then. Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harriman's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again,
I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.